Right, Shalom, Shalom, Kahala, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. Now, I want to just speak up on what's happened recently overnight. Basically, you got the Syrian conflict. Israel is being blamed for an attack on a airfield that happened last night. Now, this is after Trump done warned there would be consequences for the so-called chemical attack that they were blaming on Assad. So let's hear what's up.
Missile attack on government airbase. The Interfax news agency said Israeli warplanes had carried out the strikes from Lebanese airspace. Monday's attack hit the Tias airbase, known as T4, near the city of Homs. Reports say several people have died, some of them Iranian. This follows a suspected chemical attack on a rebel-held area near the Syrian capital Damascus, an attack that has been blamed on the Syrian government. Our correspondent Yolande Nell has been monitoring events from Jerusalem.
Well, the information we have is coming from the Russian Defense Ministry and also from the Syrians, and reports saying that 2 Israeli F-15 warplanes fired several missiles between midnight and 1 o'clock in the morning GMT at this airbase, which is in the center of Syria. It's the largest military airbase in the country. We understand that some of the missiles struck the western part of the airfield. Now, according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, which monitors events in Syria from the UK, it's saying at least 14 people were killed there, including Iranians. And we do know that at this particular airbase, as well as the Syrians, there are Iranians, also members of the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah, and also, of course, Russians as well. The Russians say that there were no Russian specialists that were injured in this incident. Here, the Israeli military spokesperson is declining to comment, but that is quite typical because we have had dozens of strikes carried out by Israel, we know, inside Syria in recent years.
And it's key to note that the Israeli state keeps attacking sovereign nations, man. All right, they have no business doing airstrikes on Syrian territory. That's got to be a violation of international law. But you see, because they're like backed by America, pretty much they do whatever they want. In fact, what is the cause for American troops being in Syria? Because, again, Syria is a sovereign nation. So unless they've invited America and Israel to be involved in the conflict within Syria, they got no business being there. But then again, they do, if you understand that Syria is a threat with their allies to the global empire that America has, which Israel is part of that, and they just want to take out the Syrian regime. All right.
Out in most cases, the Israelis commenting on them.
Now, the US was very quick to say that it was not behind this attack, but do you think that the Pentagon might have known this strike was coming?
Well, certainly even the Syrians first suspected that it was the US that was behind this airstrike after that warning from President Trump after a suspected chemical weapon attack in Douma, in the rebel-held town there, that President Bashar al-Assad would have a big price to pay. Of course, the US is an extremely important ally of Israel, so we could expect that the Israelis would tell Washington what they were planning. Also, perhaps the Russians too, because we do know that the Russians have in the past, besides having very good relations with the Israelis in general, they have got involved to try to de-escalate the situation, particularly back in February when actually Israel targeted this very airfield.
Right, so you get the point. So just to break it down, what you're seeing here is everything playing out according to prophecy, all right? Because at the moment, all right, in the Middle East, which, let's get the precept. See, the Israeli state is going to be the catalyst to bring, to basically kick this war in the Middle East off, World War III off, real good and proper. And through them, they're going to drag America and the rest of America's NATO allies and others into this war, right? And you can see it already playing out, all right? Because you got to understand that whatever Israel does, in the eyes of the West, they will always be deemed to be the victim. If they attack Syria and then Syria now decided to attack Israel, Israel will be placed as the victim, and that's going to give these people justification to enter into the war on Israel's side. All right? And it's not going to end well, trust me. All right? And that's why the scriptures speak about the least of the flock. All right? Drawing them out to their destruction. All right? Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom, and his purpose that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So these Israelis, right, the Israeli state is going to be the catalyst to draw all these nations, namely America, into this World War III. And because they got all these different treaties and defensive pacts, that's what's going to turn it into a world war, because all these different nations are going to come together. Now, you got to understand that the Israeli state, okay, since like, you know, the last 2 decades, has been the overwhelming military power in the Middle East. And not to mention when you got America also, you know, coming over into the Middle East, putting their military bases in Qatar and places like that. But Israel, the Israeli state itself, is basically a giant military base in the Middle East for America and Europe. All right, America has extremely funded the Israeli military. All right, so you go to this website, Middle Eastern powers ranked by military strength, right? Not only is Israel a nuclear power, which, by the way, they're not signed on to the nuclear, anti-nuclear proliferation treaty or whatever. They're not signed on to that, but they do have nuclear weapons. If you look at the Israelis in that Middle Eastern region, they're ranked number 3. But if you add in the nuclear power, really they should be ranked above Egypt. But the nuclear arsenal they have isn't official, but everyone knows they have it. So if you have a look here, right, you got Israel in the Middle East, and they got them American bases, and they've managed to basically be the power, the main dominant military power in the Middle East. But what's happened now is you got Iran, which you see there's number 4. You got Syria, which is number 6, right? And you got Hezbollah, which are teamed up together. And they're becoming more militarily stronger by the day. Add to that the fact that Iran is operating in Iraq, right? And you got other Gulf states that are looking at this. The balance and power of the Middle East is shifting, because now you've got Turkey making deals with Syria too. Yeah, check that out. So you got Turkey, which according to this list is ranked number 1. You got Turkey, you got Iran. Egypt was always a vassal of America, but now Egypt is also flirting with Russia. So you could kind of throw Egypt in there as well. So you got Turkey, you got Egypt, you got Iran. Saudi Arabia's supposedly with Israel and America. All right. You got Syria, you got Iraq. All right. These are all together, and Hezbollah. These are all coming together. Right? Add to that Russia, because Russia is now a presence in the Middle East, which is a nuclear power. So you got a nuclear power in the Middle East coming against them. Iran, Turkey, Egypt, Syria, Hezbollah. As each day goes by, the Israeli position is only getting weaker. Yeah? This is what we got to understand. Every day that goes past, the Israeli position is only getting weaker. I got this article here. The long war of the Ottoman succession. I just want to get the main point. Okay, it says, however, the hawks in Tel Aviv and Washington are calling for further moves against Iran. Many Israelis and Americans see the Iranian regime as a threat to the survival of Israel. What they are is a threat to the military and regional dominance that Israel has had in that region. Okay, which has been pivotal to the empire. All right, that's why they get pumped up with all them weapons they got. That was the whole reason for it. When they set up the Israeli state, they wanted to be a secular state with a strong military. For what reason? To gangster that region. All right, that's why they've been rolling around doing whatever the hell they want. Right? It says many Israelis and Americans see the Iranian regime as a threat to the survival of Israel, or the Israeli state, I really should say, especially if Iran were to acquire a nuclear weapon. Well, now Iran don't need to acquire a nuclear weapon because they have a nuclear armed ally in Russia who is present in the Middle East with them. Do you see? Iran is on course to become the dominant military and political player. What does that mean? It means that now Iran can start drawing other Gulf states into their sphere of influence. And out of the sphere of influence of who? Israel. You understand? Their position is only getting weaker. They're getting backed against the wall. And political player in the region by harnessing the combined power and strategic depth of Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq. An Israeli nightmare is that their national morale will collapse if this actually happens. As most Israelis also have a US passport, a very substantial portion of the Jewish population might quickly desert the country in this scenario. And that's how you know this wasn't no fulfillment, because the scripture says when the Israelites go back into the land, none shall make them afraid. They shall be quiet and be at rest. So that shows you that, these are not Israelites, man. All right. So, and it's going to go into say about Saudi's got the same problem. So let's get this. This is basically the Israeli state in the Middle East right now. All right. The American dominance, the Israeli American dominance in the Middle East is waning. It's they're getting weaker every hour, right? Russia has done their part pursuant to Ezekiel the 38th chapter by preparing and being a guard unto their allies, and they're getting stronger. Syria is getting better military equipment. Iran is getting better military equipment. Hezbollah, Turkey has joined them now, and they're getting better military equipment. Yeah? So these Israelis are sweating because the writing is on the wall. They don't want to get into a position where they're the weak ones in the Middle East, because you know where it's going to go from there. Okay? See, they're so used to being the bully, but now the bully is losing his ability to bully, and that's going to cause them to act. And that's why you see these little things happening, but eventually they're going to have to do something big, because this little airstrike they do ain't going to stop the tide from turning. All right? That little jab they just do ain't doing nothing. They're going to have to do something big. And when they do something big, all these different nations you see here in red is going to come up against them. And they're going to be at a full-scale war. And you know what's going to have to happen then? America's going to have to jump in. All right? It says how Putin's influence spreads beyond Syria. And it's got Gaza. Iran has supported Hamas with cash and weapons. Lebanon. Iran funds the Shia Islamist militant group Hezbollah. Europe. The EU gave 6 billion euros to Turkey to stop refugees from entering Europe. Syria. Iran has openly supported President Assad, supplying, training, and controlling thousands of troops. Afghanistan, Afghan government claims Iran provides weapons and military assets to the Taliban. And then you got Yemen, Iran accused of supplying Shiite Houthi rebels with ballistic missiles. All right. So the situation in the Middle East, man, the power, the balance of power is shifting towards Russia and their allies. Yeah? How Putin's alliance meddles in Syria. And then you see all the Russian allies up in Syria. The supposed US allies. But as the US gets weaker and their weakness and the Israeli weakness is being shown, guess what? More and more nations are going to flip and go to the other side. All right? And that's what you see going on. So, hey, we're in that time. Everything is moving towards where it's meant to be. All right, Jeremiah 49:20 again. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he have taken against Edom and his purposes, that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock, which represents them Israelis, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. Because the Israelis are not going to stop, man. They're not going to stop. Right? This act that they've done is not going to restore the dominance that they had in the Middle East. So they're going to have
Syria and its ally Russia have blamed Israel for a missile attack.
This ain't going to be enough. They're going to have to do something more. They're going to have to do something bigger. And eventually they're going to do something that the other side is going to say enough is enough. It's time for you to get your ass whooped. Right? And that's going to be the war of Armageddon, man. Armageddon. Yeah, the valley of the troops. Because that's when all them troops are going to be let loose in the valley of Jehoshaphat, man. And it's going to get real. And it's going to get real quick, real fast. It's going to be like the WWE when, you know, in WWE, you see two people fighting in the ring, and then next thing you know, you got people running out of the crowd, running out from the back room, diving up into the ring, and it turns into a 50-man battle royale in the ring. That's basically what World War III is going to be. So there's going to be two people fighting in the ring, and then next thing you know, you're going to have this guy and that guy jumping in. It's going to turn into a battle royale. Isaiah, the 34th chapter, man. All right, the Third World War, man. The time of judgment. Hey, so you better repent, man, because hey, who you guys talking shit? This thing is moving in the exact direction that we telling you it's going to move, because it's all prophecy. And as you see this word is going out, you're going to see more and more wars and rumors of wars leading up to exactly what I'm telling you. That pivotal moment, that shot, as they call it, that was heard around the world. Yeah, when you go back to that trigger event, you go back to World War One? Was it World War One or World War Two? You heard where the guy got assassinated, and they call it the shot that was heard around the world, because from that, let me see if I can get it. Yeah, it must have been World War One. Yeah, the assassination of Franz Ferdinand I.
World War I. How did it all begin? Well, on June 28, 1914, Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated by Gavrilo Princip, a Serbian nationalist. And World War I broke out. What? Really? This war, unprecedented in scale and impact, was all the result of the assassination of an archduke from a crumbling European power that didn't even survive the war. No. Actually, people like Otto von Bismarck, Iron Chancellor of Germany, saw the war coming decades earlier. The writing was on the wall. So, here are 4 leading theories of what caused World War I. 1. The rise of nationalism.
And if you actually look at it, it's the same thing that they're setting up, the rise of nationalism.
Nationalism, an extreme form of patriotism which expressed itself in many ways, became...
You know, so, and we've done videos showing this, man. Hey, that's why I keep bringing out the scriptures, man, about, from Romans the 13th chapter, man. It's high time to wake up out of sleep because everything's moving fast. All right? These guys, this thing can't last for another 10 years, man. Right? America and their allies are losing power by the minute. Forget by the hour, by the minute. Every minute that goes by, they're going from a position of strength to a position of weakness. They gotta let something happen, man. They're getting pressurized into letting it go. And it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Something's got to give. All right? Because these guys ain't trying to go down without a fight. All they got is their military might. Now, Romans 13 and 11. And that knowing the time, that now is the high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believe. You see the prophecies coming to pass. The elect is waking up. This man's kingdom is in confusion. All right? You see the mark of the beast is ready to be rolled out. You see World War III is boiling up nicely. All right? Chariot sightings. Hey, we in that time, man. No doubt. The night is far spent. The day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. Yeah, you got to get in the spirit. You got to get into these scriptures. You got to listen to what the brothers is saying, the apostles, the elders, and the brothers, and take heed and be dead serious about this thing, because there's going to come a time when that's it. These prophecies are going to drop. Pop, 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 pop. They're going to drop, man. They're going to hit real fast, one after the other. Pop, pop, pop. And you ain't going to have time to be trying to get put on the armor then. It's going to come at you, man, like a whirlwind. All right. So anyway, you know, this is good. You know, what happened with what happened there with them Israelis. And we'll see how it unfolds. We'll see what's up. I mean, obviously, it's not going to go full-scale war right now. But like I said, them Israeli gut rats, eventually they're going to do something big. And they're going to do something. And at that moment in time, the Lord's going to put the spirit on Russia and them guys to say enough is enough. You violated enough. Because this is a violation. This is a violation of serious sovereignty. And how many times you think the Israeli state gonna get away with this shit before somebody throws something back real nasty? So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.